All right, now we're going to show you guys, we're going to tell you guys some of our experiences that we've had this week, some of the people we've met and the stories that God has given us. But first, so you can kind of understand more what we're talking about, we're going to do a sample canvas. So I'm going to be a Megabooker, and Jesus is going to be a person at the door. And we're just going to show you guys kind of what happens, or at least what ideally happens.
Hi, how's it going?
Oh, I'm good. How are you, sir?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Awesome. Well, my name is Ryan. I'm a student working my way through school with the Community Enrichment Project.
Okay.
I can show you what we're doing here quick. Cool. This here is Amazing Health. Do you like to do much cooking when you get the chance?
Actually, yeah, I went to culinary school, so for
Did
sure.
you? Wow, that's so cool. Did you actually?
No.
Okay.
I mean, yes.
Awesome. Well, this one has more than 140 recipes. It helps us find 8 secrets for a longer and stronger life. They're very healthy recipes. And we are working with the same company who publishes the famous Blue Bible Story books.
Oh, yes, I grew up with those in my own home.
I had those too. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Well, do you have any children in your family?
I do, I have 4 of them.
4 of them?
Yep.
Are those your children?
I meant 5, sorry. I forget my options.
Wow, they're adorable. How old are they?
7, 12, 14, 2, 6, 7.
Wow, man, they look so old.
Yeah.
Well, here's what they look really like. This one is called Story Time, and it takes true children's stories and brings out moral and character building lessons. Things like respect for elders, obedience, trust in God. They look like they could use a little obedience. Maybe listen to their leaders a little more.
Definitely.
Are you much of a reader for yourself?
Oh yeah, I love to read in my spare time.
Really? Well, we have a great one for readers. It's a bestseller. This one's called The Great Controversy, and it helps make sense of some of the crazy things going on in our world today. You'll read chapters on the history of the Christian church, America's role in current world events, and the soon coming of Jesus. And this book has helped thousands of people to better understand prophecies from Daniel and Revelation.
Yeah, those are difficult.
They can be, but I've read through this book, at least quite a bit of it, and it really helps make it a lot clearer. You see lots of Bible references.
For sure.
It's very close to the Bible. And then that's one for our Bible study set, and we have another from our Bible study set. This one is called Bible Answers, which comes from a book called Bible Readings for the Home. And it's all in a question and answer format, and it answers the most commonly asked questions about the Bible, and even just about life. And you can see the answers are direct Bible verses. So it shows what the Bible has to say. It doesn't show other people's bias or opinion. It's got that credible source straight from the Bible.
That's what we need.
That is exactly what we need. And then also we have a devotional set. So I can show you one sample from our devotional set. This one is called Peace Above the Storm. And it helps find freedom from worry, guilt, and fear. It comes from a book called Steps to Christ.
All right.
And it includes 13 steps towards a closer walk with God. And then also between the chapters it has Bible promise pages, like that one, and short stories. So even if you just have a minute, you can get a quick blessing on the word of encouragement. And then we leave our books on a donation basis. In a bookstore, a set like this would cost about $105. But people have helped out with anywhere from just $55 up to $105. Or you can pay for my tuition if you want. You can do that too.
That's right.
Anything you give, 70% goes to helping students through Christian schools. So it's a good cause as well. Which ones did you like the most?
I'll take all of these for sure.
Hey, kid number 3, go to my kitchen.
And then also, just as a thank you, we offer some free community services. You can see we have these here on the back of the receipt.
Okay.
We have things like Natural Foods Cooking School, Stop Smoking programs, Vacation Bible School, Revelation and Prophecy seminars, and Bible studies. And with the Bible studies, you can do it personal, where someone will work around your schedule and come to your house, or correspondence through the mail.
Okay.
So which of those do you think would you get the most use from?
Maybe like the Vacation Bible School and probably the Bible study.
Awesome. Well, I get you signed up for those. Sweet. So that's ideally how doors go. And then for people who do sign up for the Bible studies or Vacation Bible School or whatever, we'll turn those leads over to Pastor Dunwoody, or maybe the elders here, and whoever gets those leads, you guys will be able to follow those up. So the work in the community doesn't stop when we leave. You guys are able to follow up. And it sounds like you guys are doing your own outreach as far as setting up booths, like at the fair and everything. So it's really encouraging to see how you guys are able to work in the community as well. And then also for people who aren't interested, which of course everyone's interested. Everyone wants them. But for people who aren't interested, we have one of these little ones. It's called Happiness for Life. It's kind of a pocket-sized version of Steps to Christ. So we've gotten hundreds of these little ones out this week. So even for people who don't necessarily get books, lots of times we like to leave them with these. So
Still trying to get the message out.
yeah.
And now we're actually one by one kind of come up. We can all come up at the same time. We're just going to share some of our experiences we've had throughout the week here. We worked a couple days here in Spencer. We worked a day in Cherokee. We went to Emmitsburg. Yesterday we were in between Spirit Lake, Esterville, and Milford somewhat. So we've been all over the area just trying to do as much as we can for you guys, for this church, for this community, and it's just some of our stories, some of our experiences. Yeah, and as they come up, we'll be introducing ourselves. My name is Jesus Valenzuela. Me and Ryan were leading out the team this week. This is my 7th summer in the Megabook program. I've been doing this since I was 15. Yes, that means I'm 21. This is a job that's very near and dear to my heart. I was actually here 2 years ago when we came to Spencer, so I'm glad to be back, see some familiar faces, and be able to even commune with you guys later and just share these experiences that we've been having.
Happy Sabbath again. The experience I had, it was yesterday, and like I was knocking in one door, and like there was one little kid. He was like 7, and then he opened the door, and then we usually ask if there is a parent at home, and then when I asked him, he said there's nobody home. And then I just left, and I knocked on another door, and then I left on the door, and then like I was going to the next door, and then the kid called me, like if I can wait until his mom comes. And then I said, no, I have to work. And then he's just like, I don't want you to walk around. And then I asked him why, and then he said, I don't want you to get dehydrated. And after that, he asked me if I want water, and then he gave me water, and then like he invited me to his house, and then we were waiting for his mom, and then his mom come, and she bought like 2 books from like Amazing Health and Bible Study, Bible Answers, and after that she like signed up for like Healthful Living, Vacation Bible School, and Bible Studies, and like that was really encouraging that she signed up for that the message is really spreading, and thank you for you. Thank you.
Amen.
Good.
Hello everyone, my name is Brenda Galan, and this is my 3rd summer doing this, and I guess I'm from Overland Park, Kansas, and I go to Union College out in Nebraska. Well, my experience was one day I went to this house, and this little boy comes out and he says, oh, like my grandfather's out in the back, here, let me take you to him. So I go around to the back and I explain what I'm doing, and I start showing up the books, and then and he goes, take her to my wife. I'll let her take a look and see if she likes them. And so I was like, okay. And I begin to get a little bit nervous because I'm going around to these little hoops, and usually kind of, I don't know, it's just usually kind of, I guess, nerve-wracking. I don't know It usually doesn't work out too well. But I began talking to her and really just beginning to make friends with her. She was super nice, and we were just talking about how, like when I was showing her the kids' books, we were just talking about how important it is to grow, to train up the next generation, for the Lord and stuff, and how she just loved sending her kids to school with Christian books, to have something good to read. And then, it was really cool. And when we started talking about God and everything, I just was showing her everything, and she just really seemed to get excited about everything that we had. And so she got, basically, it's called we call it a big room. Someone gets like 10 books or more, and so she got several books, and it was just super cool how excited she was. And it always gets me excited to see how someone just sees the books and gets excited about God and gets excited about wanting to grow more in the relationship with Him.
Amen.
So I have a quick verse, and it's found in Deuteronomy 11, verses 13 and 14, and it says, "It shall be that if you earnestly obey my commandments, which I command you today, to love the Lord your God and serve Him with all your heart and soul, and then I will give you the rain for your land in its season, and the early rain and the latter rain, that you may gather in your grain, your new wine, and your oil." And to me, that's super meaningful, because if we are bold and we just do our part and just leave the rest to God, if we trust Him, He will prepare us in due time. He will give us what we need when we need it, and He will give us the courage that we need, that we ask for, just anything that if we just remain faithful to Him, do our part, and He will prepare us and give us what He needs, and He's always there for us. And so that's just what I want to encourage you guys today, and so that's my experience.
Amen.
Morning, happy Sabbath. So my name is Dotu, and this is my first year working with the Megabook Youth program, and it's been really fun this week. A lot of things happened, but some of us got sick, we didn't feel well, but it didn't really stop us working. And I'm just going to tell you one of my experience from yesterday. So I just came to the street, and it was our last street, it was like my last house, and so I knocked on the door. A lady came out. She looked like she just, I don't know how to describe her, but she just came out and she said, "Can I help you?" So I just canvassed her. I showed her my cookbooks. I canvassed her on everything, almost everything. I should canvass her my Peace Bible Storm, a Great Controversy, Bible Answers, a kid book because she has grandkids. So, and then she doesn't seem really interested in any other books. So I just showed her. I grabbed another book from my bag, and it was Man of Peace, and gave it to her, and I just canvassed her on that one. And I said, "This is Man of Peace," and it showed the harmony of the gospel, and put Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, and put it into story form. And I think somehow she was looking through the book while I was talking, so I think she found something interesting to her, or that touched her or something. And so she somehow just got really excited, and she's like, "Oh, wait, why don't you wait here?" So she went back into her house. She took about almost 5 minutes, and she came out with a folding, crusty $7, and I didn't really. Normally the book is 10, but I didn't want her feeling. But I think I just thought that she really gave all she had, because she asked me, "Is this enough?" I was like, "Oh yeah, it's not a problem." So nearly anything you give, almost a 10, it's just help. And she's like, thank you. And I asked her why. She wasn't interested in the other books, but why was she interested in Man and Peace? She was like, I've been to church she was a Methodist, and she said, I've been to church, I've been to Bible studies, talked to pastor about the gospel, and she's like, I know it's just a lot about just living with Jesus and the life of Jesus, the story of Jesus, but I really did not get how when the pastor or when I went to Bible study, the leaders, anything that she said, I did not understand what they said. So I think she said, I just want to learn this. I just want to figure this out my own, and I just want to find out the truth my own. I just want to ask the Holy Spirit to help me understand everything with the Bible. So it's like, oh, that's good. I was like, good. We'll pray for you. So I just prayed with her. She also prayed for me for this week and for our works and stuff. So I just want to say that there are still so many people out there, so many people out there that are still looking for the truth, that still need Jesus. So there's so many people out there that do not know the name Jesus, that haven't heard it ever in their life. So I just encourage you guys to, if you have a chance, if you have the opportunity to do it, please do, because just go out and reach out to your community or your neighborhood. If you know someone who does not go to church or something, just encourage them, invite them, talk to them. And let's not force them, because God don't force us either. So just ask them every week, oh, you want to go to church with me? They say, oh, that's okay, I'm busy. That's fine. Don't force them to come with you. But someday, believe me or not, this is what happened to my dad. So they'll come because they see what you're doing. They see you're a great example, and they want to know what you're doing, and they want to know. They say, oh wow, this women or a guy really love Jesus and really love God. So why don't I go with him and see what's up with it? So yeah, that's what happened to my dad. So he came to church, and I believe if you do that, your friends or your neighbor will come to church. And so I just want to say, serving God and getting close to God is not about what we do for Him. It's about what He do through us that help us get closer to God. And I just want to read a verse of the Bible. We hear this verse every time, everywhere we go. It is found in Matthew 5, verse 13 to 14. I'm not much of it, I'm just going to read the first line. 13 start with, you are the salt of the earth. And 14 start with, you are the light of the world. And we're the salt and the light of the world. So just go out, be the light of Jesus, be the salt for Jesus. Don't be afraid. Just know that Jesus is always there. He's with you every step you take. He won't not let you fail. He won't let you down. So just go with Him, be strong, and just reflect the light from God.
And just a quick note, the lady that Dotu met, who was just thirsting for more knowledge about Jesus, the book he gave her was A Desire of Ages. Our version, we call it Man of Peace, but it's The Desire of Ages.
Happy Sabbath again. My name is Andrea, and I am from Springfield, Missouri. This is my first summer Megabook, and yeah, I'm going to tell you an experience that I had that wasn't at a dorm. It was with my team, well, a couple people from my team. I was doing businesses, and I was doing it for a couple hours maybe, and I was very discouraged because I didn't get anything out. And so I called my leader, Jesus, and I was really, really upset. And so he came by, and he pulled over or whatever, and we sat on the sidewalk, and we just talked about like how true God really is, just how our relationship with God and how we need to rely on Him and different things like that. And Amani was doing her own thing miles away. She was doing businesses, so that's an important note that you need to know. But so whenever Jesus and I were talking, he was like, just get in the van, and I was like, okay. So I got in the van, and I was reaching for my phone because I was going to go to my Bible app to find some word of encouragement. And on my phone, I got a notification, a text message from Amani, and I was like, why did she text me? She's working, she's not supposed to be texting me or whatever. And so I opened it, and she sent me this Bible verse. And it said, therefore, my beloved pastor, canvassers, children, be steadfast, immovable, always excelling in the work of the Lord, always doing your best and doing more than is needed, being continually aware that your labor, even to the point of exhaustion, in the Lord is not futile nor wasted. It is never without purpose. And so earlier I was struggling with, why am I even doing this? I'm not getting anywhere. I'm just wasting my time. But this verse kind of smacked Amani and I both in the face. Like, this is not in vain. God is going to use me to bless people in the books and everything else. So just the fact that I got that text message whenever I was looking for encouragement, she didn't even know what was going on. It just goes to show that God has a plan and God is always there. So that verse is from 1 Corinthians 15, verse 58.
This next one is kind of involves all of us, everybody in the group, I guess. There's several different factors in this experience that come into play. But I guess I'll start off. We were in Cherokee the other day, and we were having a really good day. Things were moving. We were getting books out. People were signing up for Bible studies. People were signing up for vacation Bible school, all kind of things like this. And as a leader, I'm driving around, I'm getting people books. I'm finding the next street. I'm just busy. I'm running back and forth. And I drive by the street that Chala was on, and he needed some books. So I hop out. I give him his books. And usually we try and get to work with students if we get the opportunity, hit a couple doors with them, to be able to just be out in the field again and speak to the people at the door as well. And he said, hey, are you going to work with me? And I had intended to, but not until a little bit later until I could kind of get settled in. But something in my head was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and just do it now. I saw he wasn't too far away from who he was going to meet up with. So I said, sure, all right, I'll go ahead and hop out. And we go and we speak to this lady, and she ends up getting some books, and I believe she might have even signed up for vacation Bible schools. And it was super exciting. We're like, oh, praise God, praise God. We prayed right before that door, and we were able to get some books to her. And then both Ryan and Delta were working together as well, and then they hop in the van, and we're about to get in the van. I'm like, all right, let's go, because while we're canvassing, Imani and Brenda were calling in that they were done with their street, and they're ready for pickup, and that's while I was at our door, so they already at this point had been waiting for a while. And like, hey, we're ready, and so okay, I'm coming to you, we'll get to the van, and I get to the car, and it won't start. And I'm thinking, what's going on? I tried 15, 20 times. These are rentals, they're like 2017, all these push to start, I don't even know. I'm like, what's wrong? How is this car messed up? What's wrong with it? And we all said to each other, it was me, Chala, Ryan, and those two, we were in the van, and we said, you know what, let's pray. And we prayed, and in my heart, I'm like, God's gonna make the car start. And we tried, nothing. So then we both hop out, open the hood. We're kind of like, I don't know too much about cars. And then I open up, and I know where the battery is. I know, like, if we need to pass the cables, I know what to do. I was like, I'm not that ignorant on this kind of subject. So I go out, open the car, look at the battery, pull it up, and there's all these wires and chips and this and that. And I'm like, what in the world is this? What does technology come to where the battery of a car is like chips and all these things? So I'm sitting here like, what am I gonna do? Meanwhile, Imani and Brenda are still sitting there going, hey, we're ready. And finally, I'm back in the car, and
so Jesus and I hopped out, checked the car, and then we hopped back in, and they're still calling. They called in like 8 or 9 times, even though I finally had the channel up, and I was like, guys, can you just be patient? We're having some power trouble.
Well, it was raining as well.
Like sprinkling, like a tiny bit. So anyways, so we're back in the car, and then Jesus is like, you know what, because he had a street, he had planned where he was going to drop them off next, and it was a little ways away, so he was going to have to drive them there, and he was like, you know what, I can just put them on this street right next to the one they're on. So he stepped out of the car, and he's going to radio them and talk to them and explain how to just walk like 1 block over to the next street and start on that street. So he had changed his mind of where he was going to put them. And as soon as Jesus hopped out of the car, I was sitting in the passenger seat. Yeah, as soon as he hopped out of the car to tell them to change streets, I was in the passenger seat. I just kind of climbed over the center console and got in the driver's seat, and I said, Lord, I didn't say, Lord, start the car. I just said, Lord, let your will be done. And push to start, and right away, engine comes right up. And it was seconds after Jesus had told them to switch streets.
And then even the crazy part is even as we were looking, all right, let's go get them. My plan was to just have them work that until I could get to them and I'd move them. And as we're all going, all right, the car started. Thank the Lord, thank God, here we go. And we're driving, and as I'm going, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to move to the next street. But something in my head said, you know what, no. Maybe God wants them on this street. Maybe there's a reason that the car didn't start. Maybe there's a reason it started exactly after I told him to move to the next street. So I literally said, whatever happens, God, it's in your hands. And we continue on, and when I told them to move, we have specific instructions we give on their streets. So there's one on each side, and I told them, you guys just go, and as you go, just any little side street you see, just go one block and continue on your main street. But, and I'll let them kind of explain.
So normally, it's kind of really Holy Spirit led. The Holy Spirit really works through the leaders. And so sometimes it seems like as if, okay, all they're doing is getting the AC and driving around and just having a great time. But, I mean, it is up to them to have wisdom to put us on specific places or streets, or put this person on this side because maybe they could reach someone over here better than the other person could, or vice versa. So when Brenda and I were told to go on that street, he didn't give us specific instructions on who to go to the left of the street or who to go to the right. And so we were like, okay, we have to pray because we don't want to just, go wherever and, miss a blessing. And so we prayed and we were like, God, if you want me on this side, show us a sign. Or if you want her on that side, show us a sign. And we stood there and we kind of did the Jeopardy song. And we were just waiting. And we're like, okay, we got to work somehow. So all of a sudden, I remembered a maneuver that we used to do in Megabook Youth. It's called a hopscotch. So there's like a row of houses. One person will start here, and the next person will start right next to them, and you'll just kind of like go every other house. And so we said we'll hopscotch until houses start on the next street. And so whoever gets to the last house on this side will just cross over. So that's how we were going to decide. And so I went to the first house on that side, and this guy opened the door, and he was an older guy. He was really nice, and I was showing him the 5 books, similar to how Ryan was showing Jesus. He was interested in the 5 books. I pulled out another one. He was interested in the 6th book. We were talking. He was asking me where I was from. We were becoming friends. And he was such an interesting guy. But he was like telling me all about his experiences in the church and how he has been to Bible studies or been to different churches. And he was just always felt empty. He always felt like there was something that wasn't there. He was never content with the Bible studies or with the churches that he went to. And so we were talking about that, and I was showing him books that would be good for him to get closer to Christ. And he was like, okay, yeah, I'm interested in this. And so I told him about how much the books would be, for donation basis. Normally people help out with $65 to whatever they're able to do. He was like, man, I think that's still kind of expensive. I don't think I can do all of that. So he handed me one of the kids' books, and he was like, I think I'll just do these 5. I said, okay, great. So I start his receipt, and he takes the books into his home to go get his wallet. And he comes out, and he's like, before I pay, I have a question. And I was like, oh my goodness. I've never had this happen. Like, he's testing me. I have to get this right so he can get these books. And so he's like, what is your interpretation of John 1:1? And I immediately am like, I've been at this all my life, I was in Pathfinders, Bible Bowl, all of this, so I kind of know some scriptures. And so I immediately knew what he was talking about. In the beginning was the Word was God, and the Word was with God. And I was like, it's a good scripture. He's like, no, what do you think it means? Like, he was trying to go really in depth, and so I was like, okay. And I realized sometimes as Christians, we know these scriptures and we recite them, but do we really know what they mean? And that immediately hit me, and I was like, okay, what does the scripture mean? And so I kind of broke it down with him, and I was kind of beating around the bush. I was like, so what do you think it means? Who do you think is the Word? And I was just trying to buy some time. And so I was like, okay, I was like, God, please send your Holy Spirit to give me wisdom to know what to say, specifically for this man, for his question, to answer his question. Speak through me. And so he was just so confused about, I guess, the Trinity. And I kind of tried to explain that to him. He was like, okay, that kind of makes sense. And I was just still so nervous and in my own flesh, and I saw Jesus driving around, and I said, I pulled him over there, and he hopped out the car. He was like, hey, that's not normal. And so I was just like, help. And so the guy asked him the same question. So we're just kind of discussing with him scripture, and all of a sudden I was like, at times it's kind of interesting because there's some things that our puny little human brains just won't understand. And that God tries to put it as plainly as he can so that we can grasp the concept. Because it's just so amazing. So in the beginning was the Word was God, and the Word was with God. And so, and the guy was just like, wow, that's the answer that I needed. And I was like, really? And I was so excited. I was like, okay, great. And he was like, yeah, you gave me everything I needed, and I've asked so many countless pastors. I've asked them these questions, and I've asked this question in Bible studies, and they have all just treated me like I was silly and stupid for not knowing the meaning behind this verse. And he was like, you gave me the exact answer that I needed. And I was like, looking at Jesus, we were like, okay, good. So he's going to give these 5 books. And he said, so I want to give you this donation because you have made me feel good. You put me at peace with this scripture. And he pulled out $120. Remind you, he said 65 was too expensive. So he had been testing me this whole time. And so he pulled this out, and I was like, I looked at Jesus, and I was like, well, sir, with that donation, you can get all the books. And he's like, really? I don't even think I want them. And I was like, no, you're going to get all the books. And Jesus was like, it will be a great gift. It's a great way to minister. And I was like, oh, okay. So we're just trying to get these books with him. And so I pulled out all the rest of the books, and I told him about it. And he's like, okay, cool, awesome. And so he goes inside to put them in his house again. And I look at Jesus, and I start the receipt, and I'm like, it's all on a donation basis, but normally we just do like 10 to 15 for each book. And so I was like, I think we're just about like $10 short, I guess. Not a big deal at all, but I was just like, okay, whatever, I'm writing on my receipt. And he's like, oh yeah, it's not a big deal. And the guy, mind you, the guy could not hear us say this. He was all the way in his house putting the books wherever he put them. And he came back out with $30 in each hand. And when we were only $10 short. And he said, I want you guys to have this. I'm just so inspired. I want you guys to have this. This one for you. This one's for you. These $30 are for you. And we were looking at each other like, wow. And so we were like, thank you so much for your donation. I know these will be a blessing to you. Jesus was like, can we pray with you? And so we were praying with him. And I said, amen. And I looked, and the car was right next to his house. And Dotu was in the car because he was sick. And so he had opened the door, and he was sitting there like, yeah. That's when he saw the guy get all the books. So it was just such a great experience. And it was just so amazing how God worked. Because if that car started and there was no problem, we would not have been put on that street. We would have been on a whole other street, on the whole other side of town. And so it was just amazing. I mean, even Jesus was going, once the car started, he was going to put us on another street. We still would not have been to that street. And that was the only guy that I talked to. I talked to this guy for a long time. And
on top of that, while all this was happening, because she was at that door for a good while. And while that was happening, I was working on a street with Brenda, right?
Right across the
street. Yeah, I was working on, like further down the street with Brenda. And a policeman pulled up, and I guess somebody had let them know that there were people going door to door, and we talked to them, and we explained we're doing a community outreach, and they said, the policeman actually said, I'm not exactly sure what the rules are for this, but probably before you do any more work, you should go talk to City Hall and get a permit, because what we do, since it's through the church, the rules are a little bit different, but he didn't quite understand. So he was telling us that we needed to stop working until we could get a permit. And it was, as they were walking away from that house, they heard on the radio, Mobile 1, this is Ryan and Brenda, we need management assistance, which means that we need you to come and talk to a police officer or an angry customer or something.
So I just want you guys to understand, the police officer has all authority to say, okay, I need you guys to all stop working so we can get this figured out. You guys need to go to City Hall. Had he said that, literally 45 seconds or a minute or two before, it would have disrupted us, and Jesus would have said, oh, okay, because that could be either serious or just nothing too bad. It can be something that Jesus can fix. But that could have totally ended whatever I was talking to this guy, the Holy Spirit was working. I would have had to leave the door.
And also, if the van had started literally 5 seconds sooner than it had, then Jesus would have never told them to go to that other street. If the van had started a couple minutes later than it had, then the police officer would have disrupted that experience. So just all the working pieces that all work together for that one experience. It was almost our entire team that had some part in that experience, and we were just so encouraged. And when the police officer came, I looked at my phone, checked the time, and it was 8:45 in the evening, and our pickup time is 8:45.
Oh.
So the fact that the Lord held off any kind of misunderstanding up until when we were picking up anyways, it was just amazing. On the way back, we were just all so excited about what God had done that day, and just sharing it with each other.
It was crazy because as we were talking with the guy, one of the things that inspired him so much was, he's like, you know what, I see all these Jehovah's Witnesses, all these people out here, and I respect them. They're doing what we should be doing. They're going door to door, spreading this message, but I don't necessarily agree with what they're doing, with what they're saying. Because I respect the method, but not necessarily the message. He's like, and you guys are out here. You have this truth. Not only are you doing this kind of work, going door to door with the truth, but you're young people. Like I said, I started when I was 15 years old. Some of these kids, or some of the kids in our program are 14, 15 years old. And to think that people that young are giving up their whole summers. When I was that age, I wanted to be out playing soccer with friends, chilling at home, sleeping all day, doing whatever I could. But the fact that we're, not only just us, but people all over the country, all over the world are willing to give up their summers, their days, their months at a time of vacation to go do the work of the Lord in the hot sun all day, and people to yell at them, talk to the cops, get doors slammed in their face, different things like that, inspired him so much. So I also kind of want to encourage you guys to be inspired to, even if it's not going door to door, even if it's not necessarily any kind of missionary work going overseas or anything as simple as talking to a friend at work, talking to your neighbor about God. Something like that can make a huge impact. It can be super inspiring in ways we can't imagine. I just also want to, we're almost done, don't worry. I wanted to share a quick experience from way back when I was a student. We were talking about trusting in the Lord. The Bible verse is trust in the Lord. Those who trust in the Lord will be like flowers planted by the river, different things like that. So I want to talk about an experience where I learned to trust in the Lord. I could sit up here for the next 3 hours and all my experiences of how I needed to trust, how I needed all these things. And 7 years of doing this, trust me, I've got experiences to tell. But I want to talk about one specific one when I was a student. It was the last week of the summer, and that entire week I had been struggling. Usually the last week, everybody's, we've been training as much as we can, so everybody's, it's pretty much as good as they can get for the summer. We go to the nicest territory, we go to speak to the best towns, all these things, and people get their highest days, people get, are able to achieve what they hadn't before in the summer. So it was super frustrating for me to be having my lowest days when everybody else's book totals were skyrocketing. And I just remember feeling super discouraged, and it was the last day of work, and we were working, and I remember my leader talking to me, and she said, you know what, Jesus, this morning I want you to get 20 books, just in the morning. And I said, you're crazy. Because most of the time, 20 books in a day is an insane day. It's super crazy. To get 20 books is to have a super successful day. So to have it in just the morning, I was like, okay, sure. She's like, well, let's pray about it. I was, all right, cool, we pray. And I go out and I start working. And there's about 30 minutes till lunch, and I've got 3 books. And I'm sitting there like, there goes my 20-book morning. And she says, you know what, I'm going to hop out and I'm going to work with you for a couple businesses. There was like 4 or 5 left. And we worked and nothing. And we had one more. She said, after this, we're picking up for lunch. She's like, but Jesus, I want to pray. She says, I want to pray that we get 20 books. And the crazy thing is, I don't know if you guys saw, some of the books we carry, we only carry about 13. So I said, look, Anna, even if we sold all the books, that's still not 17. She's like, let's just pray. And I was like, okay, so whatever. So she's praying. She's like, dear God, help us to be able to trust in you. Help us to be able to know that you're going to give us these 17 books. And in my mind, I'm a 16, 17-year-old kid. I'm just sitting there like, amen. I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's just get it over with. Let's have them say no and continue on. So we go up, and it's a smaller business, kind of run down. I don't even know if we see some people in there. It's kind of like an old mechanic shop. A guy with some dingy clothes, and his wife's at the counter. And I'm already in my mind, Like, I'm just angry. I don't even want to be here. Can we just go to lunch? Can we skip this? But she's like, let's just go. Come on, we just prayed. God's going to work a miracle. And she starts showing her some of the books. And the lady's kind of like, okay, cool. She doesn't seem super interested, but she's looking at the books. And she gets more and more books. She started off with like 3 or 4, and then she's 6 or 7, 8 or 9, 10, 11. And she has all the books, and she's like, oh, that's neat. She's like, well, do you have any more? And initially, Anna says no, but that morning, I was down in the shed before we went to work. I don't know what got me to be down in the shed. And I started to look at some of the books that we carry. In the back, we have some of the older books that we don't really canvas anymore, that are outdated, kind of older. We don't show these anymore. And I think we had 14 books at the time, and I grabbed 3 books that we don't carry anymore. There's something in my mind just said, put these in here. And when she asked that question, Anna said no. I was like, wait, I have a couple more books. And she's like, oh, let me see them. And in my mind, I'm already thinking, 13, 15, 16, 17. And I'm already like, there's no way. Like this must be a joke. So the lady's looking through them, and she's like, I'll take all 17. And I was just, like, I almost fell over. I was floored. I was just disbelief. I said, how can this be? Like, how can, we don't even carry this many books. What put in my mind to go to the back of the shed and grab these books we don't carry anymore and talk to this one lady? We prayed right before we came here, and the lady ended up getting the books, and we just had to share with her. We said, ma'am, you're not going to believe this, but right before we walked in here, we prayed, and we were hoping for 17 more books, and that never happens. Like, it's very rare to be able to get 17 books in one place. And you're such an answer to prayer, this and that. And she's just like, she didn't say anything, and she just pointed to a sign that she had that said something along the lines of, nothing can stop the power of prayer. And that was just so insane to me. So I just want to recall back to that verse. Also, interesting side note, when I picked the verse the other day to send to the pastor, I was just super inspired by it. And then this morning, I got a notification from my Bible app, and the verse of the day was the exact same verse that I had picked up, Jeremiah 17, 7-8. And again, like I said, it says, trust in the Lord. I just want to kind of recall to that because we're doing work. I've never done any kind of work. I've never done anything else in my life where I've had to trust in God as much as I have in this work. At every door, at every person we speak to, there's so much trust and faith that goes into it. The Bible verse also says we are like plants. We are like trees planted by the river. We were put in situations in which we will thrive. If we have God on our side, no matter what happens, we will not fail. His will be done. The devil cannot stop that. So that was just something quick I wanted to share with you guys. And do we have time for one more, or?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
All right. I'll try to be not too long. So this was actually experienced from when I was a student, and it was actually the week we were in Spencer 2 years ago. And this is one of the craziest experiences I've ever had in my life. We were working, and I was on one street, and sometimes, some of you guys have probably done some kind of door-to-door, whether it be just passing out flyers or something. It can get discouraging, especially when people aren't home very much, or if people are just rejection. So that had been kind of what was going on. I was a little bit discouraged. And I got to this door, knocked on the door, and this elderly gentleman answered the door. And I started telling him what we were doing, and I showed him we were with the Bible Story Company. And as soon as he saw the word Bible, he was like, nope, and just pointed like, leave. And then he kind of did this. He was like, leave. like about that hard. I was kind of confused. It didn't really hurt, but it kind of hurt my spirit. Like, wow, not only did he reject me, but he felt the need to like do whatever that was to me. So I was like, oh, okay, Lord, okay, I'm moving on. And then I went on to another house, and there's this fence on the porch, and it says, beware of dog. And I'm like, it's fine. So I like dogs, so I got long legs, just kind of step over the fence, go over the door, knock, and all of a sudden, like as soon as that first, I heard, and it sounded like 6 or 7 dogs. And then I look down and there's a doggy door in the door, so I know they're about to come out. So I'm like, Lord, I'm going to stand my ground. And all of a sudden, it was only 3. It sounded like a lot more. 3 of them just rushed out, and they're the little ones too. The little ones are the ones that'll bite you. The big ones are usually more docile, but so they're all running around me, barking, hopping up on my legs. And I'm like, good dogs. None of them were biting, so praise the Lord. And then this lady comes to the door, and she's holding this fourth dog, just a really little one. And she's upset. She's like, what are you doing here? Didn't you see my sign? And I was like, well, yeah, I like dogs. I'm okay with dogs. I can just let you know what we're doing here. She's like, didn't you see the fence? And I was like, yeah, I assumed that was to keep the dogs in. And she's like, no, it was to keep you out. Okay, more rejection. So then she's like, if you like dogs so much, I'll let this one out too. And I was like, oh boy. So she throws the little one, she like threw it out of the doggy door. And it comes, and it's just jumping up and biting at my knees and like, it had all these tiny little puncture marks from its teeth. But at this point, I was too invested. I had my pride too much wrapped up in this. So I'm standing there like a hero, just looking her in the eye, and this dog is just biting me. Way too stubborn to just leave so the dog would stop biting me. And I'm like, that's all right. I'll just let you know what we're doing here. And she was like, leave. I was like, okay. So I left. So at this point, I just got halfway punched by an older guy and then bitten by a little dog and yelled at by this lady. And any of you guys who have done door-to-door or anything like that, if you understand that if you go up to someone and you're sounding like, hi, I'm Ryan, I'm a student working through school, I'm having a really bad day, I'm sorry. Nobody wants to they're not going to get excited about what you have. And we know what we have is exciting because we know what our message can do for people. So I'm struggling, I'm like, Lord, I want to just, kind of mediocre, just kind of go through the rest of my day and not really give it a lot of effort. But I know that I'm not going to be an effective servant for you if I do that. So I decided, I was like, okay, I'm going to fake it till I make it. I'm going to still act excited, even though my feelings aren't there. So I go to the next door and I knock and I'm like, hi, how are you? This lady's really nice, just complete opposite of the rest of the street. And we start talking and she told me this story. For the sake of time, I won't tell you her story, but it was just a direct miracle, direct answer to prayer story. She told me her testimony, and I was encouraged by that. And then I showed her books, and she liked them, and I showed her more books, and she ended up getting all of the books. And it was just such a huge thing to me, just speaking about persevering. And there's a verse in Matthew chapter 16, verse 24. It says, then Jesus said to his disciples, if anyone desires to come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. As canvassers, as Megabookers, we have a burden that we carry with us. Sometimes our burden is heat index of 110 in a 20-pound bag. Sometimes that burden may be rude people. But we're carrying our burdens. And I was thinking about that the other day when I was thinking about this story and the burden that I was carrying on that street. But then the verse doesn't necessarily just say burden, it says take up your cross. It reminded me that my burden may be a heavy bag and a hot day, but the burden that he carried was a cross. It was the cross that he was nailed to because of his love for me. And there's a song I like, and one of the lyrics says, if I'm worth dying for, I guess this God is worth living for. And the least we can do is to persevere. The least we can do is to do our best so that others can experience the love that we've experienced. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9 says, don't grow weary in doing good, for in due season you will reap if you do not lose heart. So I just want to encourage you guys, as we leave today, whatever it is that you're doing, whether you're going door to door, I want to encourage you guys as you're going door to door, or whether you're witnessing to someone at work, or whether you're just living your life and people are watching you live your life, no matter who you are, they're watching the way you live your life. Don't grow weary in doing good. Because Ellen White says that as canvassers, when we get to heaven, we're going to have a line of people waiting to shake our hand and to say, hi, my name is whatever. Remember me? I'm here because God used you. And that's the same for each one of us. She also says that every person that we have any part in leading to Christ, we will have a star in our crown for that person. I'm so excited to get to heaven, to see my friends here, to see you guys, and to see all the stars shining out of you guys' crowns, the stars in my own crown, for the ways that God has used us. So I want to encourage you guys, take up your burden, whatever that may be. Don't lose heart. Don't grow weary. Pursue God and help others in their pursuit of God. And I just can't wait to get to heaven. When I'm praying with people at the doors, I always pray, Lord, thank you for the hope that you've given us, that when I get to heaven, I can be with this person and we can sing your praises together. So will you guys bow your heads in closing prayer? Heavenly Father, thank you so much for this church, for this Spencer, Iowa church. Thank you for their kindness to us, opening up their church to us. Lord, thank you for every experience that we've had this week, in this summer, and in past summers. Thank you for leading and guiding the times that we can see it and we can tell, and also the times that we can't see it. Lord, we know that you are always working things out for the good of those who love you and who are called according to your purpose. Lord, I thank you so much for the love that you've given us. I thank you so much for the sacrifice that you made for us, that you would take up your cross. And I ask that you would give us the desire, the passion, and the perseverance to take up our crosses and our burdens and to follow you. Lord, give us strength so that we do not grow weary, so that we can reach as many people as we can. Lord, work through us for the advancement of your kingdom. And I ask that each person in this room, that when I get to heaven, that I'll be able to see them, that I'll be able to see all the people that they helped get there, and that I'll also be able to see the people that you brought there through me and through my friends, Lord. Thank you so much for the hope that we have, and I ask that someday everyone in this room will be gathered again in heaven to sing your praises together. Lord, as we leave this place, go with us, send your Spirit with us. And thank you for the blessing that you've given to each one of us today. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.